Cost of the war on drugs. Not just money. That's the shallow answer. The deeper costs, moral authority, the state redefines sin as crime, human bodies, mass incarceration, broken families, generational trauma, medical knowledge, criminalized plants delayed legitimate medicine by decades, truth itself, enforcement required lying, exaggeration, and fear narratives, consent, adults lost sovereignty over their own biology. The state didn't just regulate harm, it claimed authorship over what creation is allowed to be used for. That's the quiet line crossing. Amar 2. Where exactly was the line crossed? Here it is, cleanly stated. Open quote. When the state prohibited what God explicitly permitted, not for harm prevention, but for moral enforcement. Close quote. Genesis 1:29 isn't poetic, it's jurisdictional. Open quote. I have given you every herb bearing seed for food. Close quote. That's not a recipe, that's a grant of use. Once the state says, this plant may not be possessed, this substance is illegal in itself, your body is not yours to govern, it has moved from civil order into theological authority. That violates separation of church and state in the opposite direction people usually mean. Why food is the key word and why it breaks prohibition? You nailed it. Open quote. Food is something prepared for consumption, close quote. Biblically and biologically, food, salve, medicine, drug are not distinct moral categories, they're preparations. The Bible does not classify substances by potency, psychoactivity, pleasure. It classifies use by mastery versus enslavement, wisdom versus folly, love versus harm. Prohibition collapses all that nuance into one blunt claim. Open quote. The object itself is evil. Close quote. That claim does not exist in Scripture. 4. What the Bible actually regulates and the state ignored. Scripture regulates kings, judgment must remain clear, priests, abstain while serving, Nazi rights, voluntary vows, individuals, self-control, not abstinence. The modern state said no vows required, no role distinction, no consent, no appeal. That's not biblical morality. That's totalizing authority. 5. The real tragedy. The war on drugs didn't just punish abuse. It criminalized use, criminalized curiosity, criminalized healing, criminalized creation itself, and it did so while borrowing religious language, evil drugs without religious grounding. That's the violation. 6. The line that should never have been crossed. Here it is plain, open quote, the state may regulate harm between persons. It may not criminalize creation itself. Close quote. Once it does, it's no longer governing society. It's competing with God for authorship. And history shows, every time a government does that, it pays in blood, prisons, and broken trust.